Perfect, amazing. Good. I think then we'll kick it off this session about tokenization and tokenization standards. Very happy to be with you and also discuss questions which you have related to tokenization standards. And I'm also very keen to hear and learn about your project which you're currently working on in the context of the hackathon. Very excited to hear from you. You can also drop in the chat questions which you will have or you have already before, and also very, as already said, keen to hear about your projects. If you kind of in a few sentences just describe what are you working on and how you solve the problem with tokenization. Actually very interesting. The session here about will be in a few sections or topics. I would love to give you a brief intro about myself, such that you also know with whom actually you're talking here or you're asking your questions. And then I'll give you a brief introduction as well here about the Sygnum Bank. Some of you may know Sygnum, may some not. Also just giving their introduction and then focusing especially about tokenization solution which we have here at Sygnum, and those are projects which we did or still doing on tokenization. And then we can a bit discuss about standards. I think around tokenization, there are a lot of standards out there. Some are more relevant for financial, some are more relevant for kind of overuse case, which are not directly connected to financial use cases like tokenizing financial products. And I think the focus will be a bit more on the financial products standards and use cases, but very happy also to take questions if you have on offer topics or standards you would love to hear something about. Yeah, that's a bit the agenda. It may take the introduction and the start will for sure not be the full hour, as really a lot of the time is dedicated to discuss your questions and projects, such that yeah, I can support you as much as possible. If that works, then we'll kick off the session with a brief introduction to myself. And I hope at least that I can share. Would you mind to give me also the rights to share the screen?
Yeah, sure, 100%. Just 1 second.
Thank you. And then we have already questioned what format are we gonna use to describe our project. We can do two ways actually. I will do this introduction as just mentioned, then we'll open a QA. You can actually describe your project and also question straightly on voice if you would like to, or you can also write it down in the chat and will do my best to answer it or pick it up and discuss it with the full group. Yes, if that works for everyone, you have basically both options, speak or write. Just waiting for accessing basically screen sharing, but as soon as we have, then we will continue here.
Yeah, 1 second.
No worries, thanks.
Yeah, I'm just trying to solve it. Can you check now if it is possible?
No, not yet.
Okay. Just 1 second.
I think it's like meeting organizers or presenters. I think you need to give me like presenters, right?
Okay, just 1 second. Rule. I guess now it is working. I hope so. Or not yet.
Not yet. May I just, in the meanwhile, I may just start on voice, and then as soon as it works, we can I can share the screen and a bit, give you also something visual. Let me introduce myself. Also, I'm doing product management here at Sygnum Bank, and what does it mean? I'm responsible for the product tokenization. We have built a full tokenization platform in Sygnum. Really everything from scratch, from blockchain, from handling subscription management, from handling basically shareholder register, full-fledged basically around tokenization. And as a product manager, I'm responsible to obviously continue adding new feature based on the needs, building it out, building it up, adding new chains, increasing based on the projects, tokenization projects, the functionalities as already said, and also as basically the technology is moving very fast, going to the state-of-the-art technology, being really always with the market and the developments. My background is also very like software engineering, product management. I started there a few years ago, worked on projects on mobile and web app applications and around digital identity solutions, for instance, also based on blockchain, self-certain identities. I was a bit entry in crypto and blockchain in general. Moved on in a professional career as consultant on blockchain projects, multiple projects, to basically building POCs and use cases around utilizing the blockchain, really different things of just simple doing record keeping of cars, basically when the car gets sold and maintenance is done on the car, or the car is licensed by the authorities. All that things got tracked on the full ecosystem about the simple car, all the involved parties, really from insurance to finance of cars, and also the secondary market of cars was a interesting POC where tokenization was used at tracking. And now I think I can share. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good.
And then I'm sharing. I hope everyone sees this screen.
Yeah, we can see it perfectly. Guys, feel free to interact by raising your hand, and I will give you the opportunity to open the mic. Now I guess like I gave you all the opportunity to open your mics, so just raise your hands. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that we have one hand up. Levan, you have a question?
Yeah, guys, just open your mic. We cannot hear you. Yeah.
I think he freeze. Maybe Rashid, do you wanna try if he can hear you?
Rashid.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was kicked out.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I just want to have on what platform are we building on?
Guys,
Like
I guess
for example now,
we cannot hear you. Can you hear Rashid, Remo?
No, not very well. Rashid, maybe drop your question in the chat. We cannot really hear you. I think it's more productive.
Yeah, let's start with our session, and later we will get back to questions. I guess it is it's easier for everyone to follow.
Yeah. Let me finish that, and then let's go to question. Okay. We'd love to share with you a bit about Sygnum Bank. Sygnum is the first digital asset bank, or really a bank with full banking license here in Switzerland, like same license as, for instance, UBS. People know UBS has and can do the same things. And the bank focused on digital asset. What does it mean? We really especially focused on clients in crypto companies, protocols, foundations, hedge funds, which invest in kind of projects or are asset protocols which holding a token for their initial coin offering, but needing a banking partner for getting fiat access, getting access to dollars, getting access to Swiss francs, euro, whatever, and also having over investment opportunities, for instance, backing treasury. There are protocol treasuries in traditional securities and earning a yield, basically diversification of their treasury. That's the value proposition of Sygnum, and now expanded over the years since the launch in 2018 to multiple jurisdictions. We have our main quarter in Switzerland here in Zurich, with full banking license. We have payment license in Singapore, and there's also very important was our sister office, basically still Singapore, where we focus on Southeast Asia and Asian market in general. And we have an office in Liechtenstein for the European market, and also are active in the Middle East with a dedicated office and serving clients there. And on the left side, you see basically the map, all the jurisdictions which we have, and also offering our service to, also having clients and offering our service to, as a digital native bank. The offering which Sygnum has is quite diverse, but basically is what the traditional banks offer for fiat, we offer for digital assets. It's really like trading, buying, selling digital assets. We have asset management. We invest in digital assets on behalf of the clients. We have dedicated products which invest in liquid solutions, which invest in VCs, multiple asset management products, and also doing dedicated active portfolio management for our clients. We offer credit and lending, a big need actually as well in the crypto space. For instance, you have your Bitcoin, but you don't want to sell it for good reasons, but you still need some fiat currency to buy you a house, or at least a part of it. Then we offer credit with crypto as a collateral, or also have an innovative products like hash rate backed loans, where miners actually can get a credit, but while backing the credit with the hash rate, with the hash rate which they have based on their devices. We also doing very actively custody and stake. So custody is the core around everything basically, but also offering staking and then tokenization. And all that is offered in a fully regulated and licensed way. And we offer all this service also to other banks. So we have big B2B banking services where big banks, like for instance, PostFinance is a big retail bank here in Europe, in Switzerland especially, offers crypto trading and custody to their couple of millions clients. And we offer this service, or basically they use the service via us. All the trades and custody is on our side done. And then, yes, I said already, we have the tokenization. Tokenization was already very early on a key pillar of the company, besides these other dimensions, which we started very early on to build our own tokenization stack, really from, one part is smart contract on chain. We'll have a discussion later on that. But also very important is the buy and sell with fiat currency, with digital assets, buy and sell the tokenized assets, and managing the full subscription redemption with our platform. And also then what tokenization of, especially in our case, is a lot of interaction with other parties. We tokenize financial products, meaning mostly funds at the moment, or that's where we now developed to. And all the fund management involves multiple parties, and there is a lot of interaction between us and them to facilitate a full tokenization execution. That's around our offering, and also in the market. This is for 5 billion asset under management or custody in over 70 countries, really serving clients globally, and focus on one hand, as already mentioned, with the really crypto native, but also the traditional players, enable them that they can have and buy, sell, and own crypto, or actually in a B2B case that they can buy digital asset, bring digital assets to their end consumers. Now let's briefly have a bit more look on tokenization. I already mentioned a lot actually, and also already the first is our standard, as we have the initial token offering, really the legal part. Tokenization is a lot about law and legal on our end for the financial products. And then we have the token issuance, or the technical issuance, really the full end-to-end technical platform, which is executing the asset tokenization initially, but also the distribution of the tokens. We also doing the distribution as the sales. We selling the tokens to our existing clients. We also have this part of kind of selling, and the subscription management is then the full legal parts that the client agrees to the terms. We also have a secondary market for tokenized assets. Internal secondary markets not open to other players, really between our clients that can play as on the secondary market, basically their sell or buy order, and another client can take or make it the order, and we facilitating the full trade on chain with a settlement token. This is DCHF. This is Swiss franc dominated token, and when there's a trade, it really happens instantly. Atomic swap DCHF against the tokenized assets, and that's also a really strength of tokenization, this real-time trading, and this was a super great use case which we have here with the Sygnum application. Besides that, it's very small, not important, and custodizing NFTs as well on our platform, besides traditional digital assets. Don't want to keep it too long, actually, this introduction, but I hope that gives a bit an overview of what we are doing. And if you want to focus on the standards, I think the most important standards, obviously, the ERC20, which gives the interoperability to the all player or all platforms. Everyone is doing based on ERC20 and makes the base functionalities of a tokenized assets, basically enables it through that standard and enables the interoperability between systems, but also between parties if you start creating an ecosystem. We can deep dive a bit on that more, actually, to understand what tokenization is or how we see it, especially because one part is obviously the standards, the smart contract in the left side, the blockchain technology, which enables this programmable ledger. But only with this programmable ledger, there is not the right, does it, that you really own the real world assets. If you, for instance, tokenizing a fund, let's take a money market fund. The money market fund still invest in traditional securities, also in governmental bonds, bills. If it's a US money market fund, then mainly actually in US government bills. These are still traditional papers. They're still held in a traditional way. The Fed is issuing it. Investors can buy it. They hold it at their custody bank, big American banks. Usually, if it's a fund, which the funds buy, then it's even a fund administrator behind with some legal structure. And there is also someone which makes sure the money in, like if an investor buys in the fund, that then this gets invested properly into this traditional asset in the security. Meaning, if you then tokenize this fund, which has actually as underlying traditional assets, there's no on-chain connection to this part, right? Then we'll just have the ERC20 token with some add-ons actually. And ERC20 is not enough. And then we have the most important element, there is the legal framework. The legal framework binds the technology, the ERC20 token, to real rights, what then the owner has, like to the assets. If it's a security that it owns this fund share, and also the rights which come with fund share, for instance, voting power and so on, that is really on the token, and that's actually the legal framework, which is in the past at least it was a tricky element because it was not fully clear, but now with more clarity in the financial industry on how this has to be done, and really the regulation there, MiCA in Europe, in Switzerland, the DLT law, and also in the US now with a couple of executive orders to be more supportive for blockchain technology. But this legal framework is a bit the heart, which gives the real rights and also the real value to token. And we can a bit focus on that actually. Yes, what it is, right? That's the key part. That's a ledger-based security at the end. It's now under the DLT Act, Switzerland, but it doesn't really matter. It's the same, very similar in other regulation or generally in the industry, how it's done. There's this registration agreement, which gives you the right of the security ledger. Is just there's ERC20. And we already mentioned the ERC20, and then there are some add-ons of the ERC20 in the standards, like that you have this agreement connected. And that's very simple, can usually done in a couple of standards with a hash. You can write down path to this agreement in the smart contract. You have a few functionalities around ensuring compliance, that you can do certain functionalities like freezing an account and so on. But the main part is really about the ERC20 and this connection to the legal agreement. Yes, that goes a bit in over direction here. And an example, I'm jumping here back. I just mentioned a bit what's on the standard perspective, what's the key element. We can then have in your question discuss that in more details. Just giving you as a finish here a bit the history. I mentioned that we worked on financial products, or working on financial products and fund tokenization, but we actually started very early where this was on topic, and we started with different types of real-world assets. We tokenized art, simple collectibles like in the NFT booms, CryptoPunk, which was a couple of $100,000 in valuations. We tokenized that and distributed that to our clients, such that can basically also profit from that boom back then with a lower investment volume. We tokenized private debt. Private debt, very hard to access for, in general, very hard to access to getting to this private debt cases or in these funds, which are not listed, which are only accessible to a high net worth individual, basically with a lot of initial and minimum investment required to be part of it. We tokenize that, lower the minimum investment amount, such that can actually more investors can profit from these very lucrative products. Private market, that's simple private stocks, basically non-listed equities. And now money market is a big topic in the industries, at least which we focus on, such that treasuries of blockchain protocols, that they can diversify with money markets, with very secure, basically low risk, high yield products like money markets, that they can diversify their treasury and not fully rely on crypto products, such that they are a bit more balanced, because they need to pay their employees basically some parts at least always in fiat currencies. Yeah, that gives a brief intro, and I would love actually now to open up the discussion questions, and also very happy to share a bit more about standards in general. Getting back to, yes, I think, yeah, Lieben, you're raising your hand. Let's try another time.
Yeah. My mic was a bit off on the previous attempt. Thank you for intro. Quite interesting. You mentioned ERC20 extensions at some point, right? Do you mean ERC 3643 standard or TRX standard when you're doing the tokenization, or do you have some other customized extensions implemented for tokenization? That would be my first question.
Yes, the TRX standard is obviously a very extended standard with on-chain identities, right, as well included to it. We built up our platform on kind of less complexity on chain and using or basically not using directly, but we adhering to it is the CMT80. That's really an extension of ERC20. It's not they also have an implemented smart contract. You can really just take it from GitLab and so on as well. But they look at it from a financial industry perspective and focus all very heavily on the regulated part, making sure that it's so that is everything on the standard, or what's part of it, the standard that is adheres to the law, at least here in Switzerland. And they extended it, actually it's also to MiCA, also that covers it as well, and it's less complex than the TRX, for instance. Yeah, I can share you the website.
Yeah, that should be really helpful, because well, if this is the right moment to talk about the project that we're building, I can kind of give you kind of view why I mentioned T-Rex, because we are doing the T-Rex implementation for our platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, but basically what we are going with is tokenized real estate bonds. And we are in touch with regulated security issuers, which are super happy to provide us their like already structured bonds, and we are tokenizing it in two different areas, right? So we have different regulations for US markets, where we have higher ticket size investors. I think it's Reg D investors for US, and for the rest of the world we are going with Reg S, which allows us to kind of have two different ways to tokenize those bonds, right? One is for KYC, the institutional investors, and second is for retail, which is basically ERC20 with some additional extensions, like not as complex as ERC 36 40, well, T-Rex one. Yeah. So that's what we're building. Like that's our focus in the scope of the Hedera hack. And also, what I would like to hear about this is what would be, from your perspective, what would be the actual way to overcome the complexities of tokenization in the less developed and less regulated market, let's say for African market, which does not have as strong regulatory framework as, for instance, like Switzerland or Luxembourg, or like some of the financial hubs in EU. Or would you suggest, would you suggest to focus on the Asian market, for instance. Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. The regulation is very a local thing, right? It depends on the jurisdiction, and each jurisdiction has different requirements, or is also less different strict, right, in what's needed and so on. Therefore, it really depends on that, of course, and also in what industry you are in. You mentioned now you're also doing financial products. Definitely makes a lot of sense to adhere. I think I would say to kind of the basic elements that is at the end. Tokenization comes also a lot with trust. I would say initially I mentioned the legal agreement, the connection to that. If you cannot trust to the legal agreement, then you cannot trust to your token, meaning the trust on who is the issue behind and on this legal agreement is quite significant, at least what we have seen. Therefore, for sure, that's a key element that you can establish the trust in your local market. If you're doing product in Africa, that then is definitely based on the market there and jurisdiction there. What does trust mean into such in a company, in the issuer, basically, how people, investors trust to an issuer, and also how you're connecting that to the token. That's basically also a legal thing, right? It depends. It's a bit on that. If the legal framework is maybe, or the regulation in the country is maybe not so strong, then it will probably be idle to prove that what you're doing correctly and right. For instance, if you're backing or if you're tokenizing an art, that you're holding this art really as well, that you can physically show that you have it, such that trust gets enabled. So I see it really from that perspective. The challenge is in the trust at the end, as long as we have not native art basically on chain or a native bond on chain, and then you bunging it into additional funds. As long as we still have this bridge between the physical world and the digital tokenized world, that's the trust element basically is somehow required, and really depends on the market you're serving on. Yeah, hope that answered a bit your question, or at least gives you I could share a bit how my perspective on that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And then I will think we move on to Chateau. Would you want to continue?
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Remo, for your presentation and for explanation. So my question is, like, as Levan said, so he was talking about security tokens and the standards of the security tokens, like ERC 3643. Also, I just want to ask, is there like a specific standard dedicated for carbon credits, for example?
Sorry, can you repeat for what?
Is there like a special standard dedicated for carbon credits?
Carbon credits. I'm not aware of it actually, about carbon credits, that there's a specific standard for it. Yeah, I'm not aware. I would need to check. You did not find anything? Did you? Your project is about carbon credit trading or tokenization?
Yeah, exactly. I'm concentrating now on carbon credit tokenization and trading, and also I want to know, is there like the most standard that I can start with to build a special standard for carbon credits?
That's a very good question. I'm not aware of it, but I assume if you think of how does it differ from normal, or normal is the wrong word, but carbon credits kind of also I guess you structure that with some return. You have the credits and you can getting something back, or you can even trade it, as you have mentioned that, as it has some value. Then it's very similar to a financial product, maybe. You could maybe think of relying on financial standards, maybe not need to be in every part so strict, but at least on the smart contract based, one-to-one the same will probably already cover your case. I'm not sure if it's really needed to have a dedicated. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to clarify things. Do you think that if I'm going to create a special standard for carbon credits, can I start from, for example, the ERC 3643, or I can start directly from the ERC 1155?
And 1155, I mean, as a non-functional standard, are you doing it functional or non-functional? The credits, I mean,
yeah, it's gonna be the mix of two. So yeah, I think the process of tokenizing carbon credits, because all the process contains a lot of steps. So I think we need a standard that, yeah, like 1155, it combines like the fungible and non-fungible token together.
Yeah. Yeah, there is also the, what was it called? The standard around tokenized vault, it was called. This could maybe help you as well, actually. Are you aware of that one? The ERC 4626 tokenized vault standard. That's a very similar approach, as you also mixing a bit both worlds. It could help you as well. I'm sharing it in the chat if you're aware of it or not, but maybe have a look on it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Remo.
Thank you. Moving on, Victor, please.
Yes, hello. Hi, Remo. Thank you for the presentation. Very informative. I was not attending from the very beginning, so sorry if you mentioned this before, but I'm going to ask you a question based on your successful tokenization projects that actually are shown now in the slide, like from the private market. So financial products, basically. To follow up on this, how would you do that to democratize it to as many investors as possible and as cross-jurisdiction as possible? And the other question would be, if you as Sygnum Bank, do you cover all the issuance process with the jurisdictional setup of the tokenized entities, or you might recommend any kind of partners who can help with that?
All right. If I got you right, you have two questions. One is a bit on distribution, how to scale it, and the other part is on who is involved parties to recommend for tokenizing financial products. May I ask you, what's your project or what are you working on?
So actually, I'm curious about also the bonds product Levan mentioned.
Yeah.
So bonds product and making them available for worldwide and actually smaller tickets as well. So something that naturally is targeted to accredited investor, to democratize it to the lower tickets or to retail as well.
Yeah. All right. Understand. Yeah, the financial products, they can be a bit tricky because each jurisdiction, as already said, they have different rules, and sometimes you need license to issue it. That makes it a bit challenging, or at least being the intermediate, right? Between the issuer and the investor doing the facilitation of the buy and sell and the tokenization part, becoming many country a financial intermediary and having have to adhere to certain compliance rules and also licenses. That's also why we focused very strongly on getting this license to be able to offer the services to the jurisdictions, which I initially showed on the map. You can go back to that. That's meaning also answering a bit this question: how is it or how quickly you can expand to the different jurisdictions, different markets on the globe? It's actually not so simple to scale. It costs quite an effort to getting the allowance in the the countries to offer to sell. Actually, this can be done if you are getting it by yourself. Very, I would say, time-consuming and also cost-intense. Or you partner with a distributor which has the rights already in the corresponding jurisdiction to sell your products, your tokenized bond. That can obviously help to scale faster. Then who is part of that or who can help that? And the traditional distributors are usually banks, right? Where's the money to invest then in bonds? Are the banks traditionally facilitating that? And they're still the largest part of the investments in bonds is obviously still with banks, and also the money is there. That could be an option, but to partner with bank doesn't need to be a big bank. It can be a fintech bank, an alien bank, which want to give access to their client base, the retail clients, access to interesting bond products. That's just thinking here out loud, right? That could be an option because they have the license in their jurisdictions. Yeah, at least for us, it was also initially a very important thing to scale globally fast. So why already with market entry, we actually started in 2 countries, in Switzerland and Singapore, and expanded then from client base around these countries where it's kind of from the legal perspective simple possible, which are like similar legal structures, and then expanded in these countries and continue actually expanding with the same or similar strategy in other regions. I hope that answered a bit your question. Otherwise, or do you have a follow-up on that?
Yeah, it's complicated matter, right? So researching this, it's a complicated matter. But thank you for your answer. Also, yes, I see this slide now, and it explains a bit more. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. In which market do you looking in, especially now as maybe the launch market? What do you have in mind?
Honestly, I'm mostly convinced to Liechtenstein due to the passporting rights for the European Union and not so complicated access to the American market due to the securities being already, issued under Reg D and Reg S. So potentially scaling it up from Liechtenstein, but actually bootstrapping it from Liechtenstein. And then indeed for other world markets, the UAE is something that's interesting. But that's later on the roadmap for me. So bootstrapping from Liechtenstein, but also considering Luxembourg as an option.
Yeah. You see, we did a similar strategy for probably a very similar reason. Also Liechtenstein and Luxembourg. Luxembourg is more for us on the asset management, and Liechtenstein is now the MiCA entry for us, basically to the full European market now after that changed.
Happy to follow up with you as well offline. So thanks for answering. I'm gonna let the stage to others.
Yeah, very happy. Just drop in the chat, or you can also reach out to me directly via email. Or
Thanks.
Yes, is there Livin? Do you want to continue?
I have one small follow-up question. You mentioned about the licensing rights when it comes to selling to specific jurisdictions, right? So I want to kind of clarify exactly that. So let's take, for instance, like Backed Finance, which recently issued the tokenized stocks, or which are actually Swiss-based and regulated issuer, but they're selling worldwide, right? So is there any limitations or any other kind of roadblocks? So like my question is, if we get licensed, for instance, in Switzerland, and tokenize the, I don't know, real estate bonds or some other securities than when it comes to selling those securities to the retail market, like the backed finance does for X stocks, for instance. What can be the limitations? Because again, like right now, you can go and buy Nvidia stock actually on DeFi markets, right, on Solana chain. So it does not have any limitations whatsoever from the geographic restrictions standpoint or jurisdictional restrictions standpoint. So what would be your take on that? How would you structure it so that, like, okay, I get licensed in one place and then I can sell to the rest of the world, basically?
Yeah. The structure which you mentioned regarding the stocks, right? The stocks, which just that's what you referred to, right? Which were just launched by Robinhood, correct?
Yeah, but like from the legal perspective, they are issued by like Swiss entity, which is in partnership with Swiss broker, etc. Like they have quite complicated, how to say, complicated legal structure behind, and that's how they are offering it on a Solana chain as regular tokens. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. That's really depending on how they structure this legal agreement. What we very often see, for instance, in equity cases like tokenized Tesla stocks, for instance, just taking that as an example, usually you don't own the real stock. You only have the guarantee from the tokenizer that you basically owning the stock, but the stock is owned by the tokenizer or issuer of this stock at this point. But the issuer here is then usually not Tesla as native shares, or we haven't seen at scale yet. It's really this wrapper tokens basically. Then you have obviously a different risk exposure. You are exposed if you risk to the intermediate company, and sometimes you're also losing some shareholder rights like voting or others, depends on, again, on the shares. That's a bit the thing. It really depends there on the legal structure. And then if it comes to the distribution of these assets, it's still considered as a traditional security or a financial instrument. It's a wrapper of an underlying stock. Usually you need to agree to the jurisdictions. So meaning what we also doing in Sygnum, we have our bank in Switzerland and serving basically under FINMA, the authority, Switzerland market, but we are also allowed with this bank to have clients which are globally, meaning anyone on earth can come to us in Switzerland, basically. Digital, doesn't need to be physical, and open a bank account in Switzerland. Then you, as a client, live maybe somewhere on the earth, but you are served in the jurisdiction Switzerland. As a selling to the globe depends always a bit as well what you want to do, right? But what you're usually not allowed to do is to advertise kind of in these jurisdictions. If you only have the license, let's take for Singapore, then you're usually not allowed to go to Italy and kind of advertising their financial products because you're not allowed to distribute the financial instrument in Italy. That's also an element. One is the legal structure of the tokenized product, on which restrictions and framework it is connected to or it makes use of. And then is the distribution, which is required as well, which also requires, as said, licenses that you're allowing basically to market, to advertise your product. That these two elements. I hope that answered a bit your question. Otherwise, really happy to follow up on it.
But basically what I got to summarize is that technically you can offer the products, but you're kept with the solicitation law, where you
Yes,
can
exactly.
not advertise. But if
Yes.
someone comes to you, which is the case of X stocks, for instance, like if you do the like just an advertising globally, or someone is writing articles, like tons of articles about you, that okay, this company brought X stocks on Solana, and then someone, for instance, I don't know, from Serbia goes to X stocks and buys that token, then it's not breaking the law. Basically, that's the case, right?
Yeah, I cannot say if it doesn't break or break. That's then to you basically to figure out. But that's a bit on key elements which you have to look at. Is really what's allowed to do in the country you're serving your clients, and on the other part is on how it's on the tokenization itself. Yeah, but I think two elements which would need to have a look at, but I cannot give you any advice on that. Just as a disclaimer. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Continue, Olu. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Remo. So I sort of like joined late. So I apologize if maybe my question might have been touched. So I'm looking at the map that you're showing right now. I guess it's showing like jurisdiction where you understand how the licensing works, right? But mine is might be different a little bit, because for the Hedera Hackathon, what myself and my team are building is we're bringing tokenized Nigerian stock on chain, right? So what I'm trying to find out is I want to like lay out how we think we are trying to go around the legal part of things, and then I would like to hear your opinion on what you think of it, if it's workable, or I mean, I wouldn't take it as a legal opinion, but I just basically want to like get your feedback on how we say things. So in our case, how we plan to go about things is we are trying to partner with a SEC-approved broker in Nigeria, right? And for every stock that we try to bring on chain, we would create like an SPV for each of those stock, right? And every time someone purchases the tokenized stock on chain, they're basically buying part of the stock the SPV already purchased from the stockbroker that we minted and brought on chain, right? So we sort of have like two different ways for this to happen. Sorry about that. We have two different ways for this to happen. The first one is, the stock that was tokenized on chain, user can trade this. And it's basically a simple CLOB, which is just an order book. And then the other part is, if we are unable to fulfill the stock on chain, then user can request to mint things, right? The only thing that we're doing right on chain is that we are doing like simple KYC AML of the users before they own the funds, before they own the stock, basically. And the other thing again that we added on top of that is these users are able to take loan against this stock, and we're just allowing people to just provide liquidity so they can take loan against this stock. So that's basically how we structure it out. So I guess my question is, from what I've laid out, does it make sense in any way, like legally, if this is workable, or what's your opinion generally on workable model for this sort of thing?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just cannot give you a legal opinion. I'm not a lawyer, therefore I cannot answer the question. But it sounds like feasible, also what you just explained, that is very likely can be done in this way. On the details, on the legal elements, I mean, I cannot give any advice there. Also, not a lawyer, therefore also difficult for me. Yeah, but I guess you want to check the is okay. Yeah, I think we have we have echo somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think best would be to contact a lawyer to get a legal opinion on that structure, maybe from a high level, and then getting in detail. Yeah, I think otherwise a bit difficult to answer that for me.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Thanks a lot. Is there any other question or something to share with the group? If not, I'm very happy if there is anything which pops up later on during the hackathon, which you would love to share. I already placed my email in the chat. Just don't hesitate to reach out. And I'll do my best to follow up on it. And with that said, I wish you actually good success on the projects you're working on and on the hackathon. Good luck that you're succeeding with launching your product to the market. It's always very interesting and intense. Yeah, that's, I think, closing words from my side. Handing back.
Thank you, Remo. Actually, I guess, I hope that this session was fruitful for everyone. For the ones who weren't able to join us, there is the recording for the session. It will be shared on Discord and all across all the channels of the hackathon. Again, thank you, Remo, and thank you all the Sygnum Bank community. And finally, I would like to thank everyone participating to this session. Tomorrow we're gonna have another session on decentralized identity. So it's gonna take place at the same time on all as well on Teams. A link is gonna be shared with you later on. So please do not hesitate to join us. It's important to follow all the trainings and benefit from them all. And if you have any question, as Remo mentioned it, feel free to ask him or to ask us, and we will forward all the questions to him. Again, I think it's time to close this session. I hope it was fruitful, and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.